workshops across the country in Kasungu, Lilongwe, Salima, Dedza, Balaka, Zomba, Mulanje, Blantyre, Chikwawa, Mwanza, and Mangochi. For more information, contact 0883 815 055 or 0996 892 965. Get a Zuku decoder today and not miss daily mass, worship and prayers, news bulletins, and so much more on Luntha TV, bringing wisdom into your home.
Thank you for joining us for our 7:30 news bulletin. My name is Tandiwin Zumara. First, the headlines. Pope Leo XIV urges Church to welcome searchers and embrace new beginnings at Epiphany Mass. Political expert says President Mutharika's cabinet reshuffle set to inject new energy and accountability. Malawi Economic Justice Network MEGIN warns higher VAT and personal taxes will shrink consumer spending and hurt businesses. And in other news, Uganda authorities deny plans for election internet shutdown. We do have the details to these stories and more, to stay with us. On Tuesday, marking the solemnity of the Epiphany of the Lord, Pope Leo XIV presided over Holy Mass in St. Peter's Basilica for some 5,800 faithful. At the start of the Mass, the Pope closed the Holy Door of St. Peter's Basilica, the last of the Holy Doors opened for the Jubilee year. The gesture marked the end of months in which a stream of innumerable men and women, pilgrims of hope, crossed the threshold of the Basilica, journeying towards what the Pope described as the New Jerusalem, the city whose doors are always open. We have more details in this Vatican News report read by Charity Chinanga.
Reflecting on the Gospel of the day taken from Matthew, the Pope focused on the joy of the Magi and the fear of her Lord, noting that Scripture never hides the tension that accompanies God's manifestation. He added that the Epiphany reveals a God whose presence never leaves things as they are. Today we celebrate the Epiphany of the Lord, aware that in His presence nothing stays the same. According to the Pope, this divine appearing marks the beginning of hope. God's presence puts an end to that type of melancholic complacency which causes people endlessly to say there is nothing new under the sun. Instead, something new begins which determines the present and the future, fulfilling the prophetic promise. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord has risen upon you. Reflecting on the Jubilee, Pope Leo XIV invited the faithful to reflect on the spiritual searching of men and women today. He noted that, like the Magi, many people feel compelled to set out on a journey of faith, accepting risks even in a difficult and uncertain world. The Pope said the Gospel calls the Church not to fear this searching humanity, but to welcome it and guide it toward God, who cannot be controlled, but is living and life-giving. For this reason, he stressed that holy places and Jubilee pilgrimage sites must communicate life and openness, allowing space for renewal and new beginnings within the Church. Contrasting this attitude with that of Herod, the Pope warned that fear of losing power distorts one's response to God and ultimately blinds people. He said the joy of the gospel, by contrast, frees believers to bold, creative, and open to new paths. Concluding his homily, Pope Leo said the heart of the Epiphany is the gift of Christ, a priceless good revealed not in power of prestige, but in humility. He encouraged the Church to remain a home rather than a monument, so it may become a sign of hope and a new dawn for humanity, guided by Mary toward a life transformed by God's love.
The Catholic Church in Malawi has reaffirmed its commitment to safeguarding children's rights following the presentation of resolutions adopted during last year's Children's Congress. The Archbishop of the Diocese of Lilongwe, His Grace the Most Reverend George Desmond Tambala, says issues raised by children point to the ongoing challenges affecting their welfare, including abuse, neglect, and limited access to essential services. Emmanuel Shiwocha has filed this report.
Speaking in an interview with Luntha television, Archbishop Tambala said children continued to face numerous difficulties in society, placing a responsibility on the church to ensure they are respected, protected, and heard. He described children as a blessing from God who deserve care, love, and protection at all levels of society. Archbishop Tambala emphasized that protecting children's rights is not the sole responsibility of the church, but a shared duty involving parents, guardians, and the wider community. The Archbishop noted that the Catholic Church has established child protection structures and committees at both diocesan and the parish levels to address challenges affecting children. But Archbishop Tambala, the Archbishop,
we are committed. As you have seen, there are different points. There are several, a list of them. I just mentioned one of them, the first one. The children are asking for the parents to work with them, accompany them as they grow. But also, they are seeking for protection from all kinds of abuses. So what the church is doing, we have set up structures, committees at the level of the parishes, the archdioceses or the dioceses, but also as a conference. Safeguarding measures are being put in place, even in schools. And that is one of the mechanisms, one of the instruments that we want to respond to what the children are asking us.
Archbishop Tambala further stated that the Church aims to promote safe environments, respond effectively to cases of abuse, and advocate for the full realization of children's rights across the country. Emmanuel George, Luntha TV, News, Lilongwe.
One of the country's political analysts, Chimwemwe Tsitsi, has described President Arthur Peter Mutharika's recent cabinet reshuffle as a strategic move likely to inject new energy, fresh ideas, and renewed accountability into government operations. The reshuffle has seen Alfred Gangata MP appointed Minister of Natural Resources, Chimwemwe Chibungu MP taking over the Minister of Lands and Housing, Feston Gauba, entrusted with the Minister of Defense, and Jabi Mahango, appointed Minister of Transport and Public Works. The changes also include the dissolution of the Minister of State position, a move observers say signals a shift towards a leaner and more focused cabinet. Phyllis Chizombe has more details in this report.
According to Tsitsi, such changes are vital in any functioning democracy. He said cabinet reshuffles are not merely about changing names or titles, but about ensuring that government machinery remains responsive, accountable, and capable of delivering results to citizens. Tsitsi further noted that while the reshuffle has generated optimism among Malawians, its true measure of success will be reflected in tangible outcomes, including improved service delivery, strengthened governance, and visible development in communities across the country. He emphasized that hope comes with expectations, adding that Malawians will judge the reshuffle not by names announced, but by the impact felt in their daily lives.
May have made the president to make certain changes through this reshuffle. and therefore I'm not very surprised that this has been done the way it has been done, much as we may not know whether it is due to the competencies or lack of competencies displayed by some office holders during the period that they've been in government.
Meanwhile, the reshuffle has attracted praise from some Malawians on social media, with users highlighting the importance of timely cabinet realignment in driving national development. Others have compared President Mutharika's decisiveness with previous administrations, underscoring public demand for effective leadership and accountability. Fales Chizombe for Luntha News.
The Malawi Economic Justice Network (MEGIN) has warned that recent increases in value-added tax (VAT) and personal income taxes are likely to reduce consumers' purchasing power, negatively affecting business performance and overall economic growth. MEGIN Regional Coordinator Mike Banda made these remarks as the Malawi Confederation of Chambers of Commerce and Industry (MCCCI) cautioned that revenue measures introduced in the 2025-2026 national budget could place significant strain on businesses across the country. Gift Kalonga has filed this report.
Speaking to Luntha TV, Banda said the tax adjustments will force consumers to reprioritize their spending, with many cutting back on non-essential goods and services to cope up with the rising cost of living. He noted that while some businesses may attempt to pass on increased costs to consumers, such measures risk further suppressing demand and slowing down economic activity. Banda further observed that the revised tax measures continue to target the same group of taxpayers, particularly salaried workers, at a time when wages have largely remained stagnant. He cautioned that this could limit households' ability to save or invest, ultimately weakening long-term economic growth, and called on authorities to broaden the tax base instead of overburdening already compliant and financially strained taxpayers.
The employers are also still selling in the same troubled economy, so they might not be willing to raise salaries to match with the increased and revised taxes, which is very problematic for the economy, because what that means is now you are taking off the the amount of money that people could reserve for other investments, which is also not good for the economy. So we really needed to think twice before we effect such type of revisions in the economy, because at the end of the day, they are the very same few people that pay taxes that are affected, when the majority of our population probably.
The 2025-2026 national budget revised several key tax rates in November 2025. Value-added tax was increased from 16.5% to 17.5%, while the payee zero tax band was adjusted from 150,000 to 170,000 kwacha. Under the revised structure, a 30% tax rate applies to monthly incomes between 170,000 kwacha and 1.5 million kwacha, 35% to earnings up to 10 million kwacha, and 40% to incomes above 10 million kwacha. For Luntha News, this is Gift Kalonga.
Remember that you're watching news coming to you live from Bishop Navy Media Center, and do stay tuned, and we'll be back with more right after this short break.
The Roads Fund Administration would like to inform the public that with effect from Thursday, January 1st, 2026, the road toll fee rates will be adjusted upwards. The new tariff, which will be applicable for both Chinganito Plaza and Kalinyike Tollgate, is as follows. Class 1A light vehicle 2 axles at 2,000 kwacha. Class 1B pickup 2 axles at 2,000 kwacha. Class 1C minibus 2 axles at 3,000 kwacha. Class 2A 17 to 31 passengers with rear double tire 2 axles at 8,000 kwacha. Class 2B 2 to 5 tons with rear double tire 2 axles at 8,000 kwacha. Class 3 above 31 passengers 3 axles at 8,000 kwacha. Class 3 above 5 to 10 tons 3 axles at 8,000 kwacha. Class 4 above 10 tons 4 or more axles at 10,000 kwacha. And Class 5 abnormal load at 40,000 kwacha. Local user discount rates. Class 1A light vehicles 2 axles at 400 kwacha. Class 1B pickups 2 axles at 400 kwacha. Class 1C minibus 2 axles at 600 kwacha. Class 2A 17 to 31 passengers with rear double tire 2 axles at 1,600 kwacha. Class 2B 2 to 5 tons with rear double tire 2 axles at 1,600 kwacha. Class 3 above 31 passengers 3 axles at 1,600 kwacha. Class 3 above 5 to 10 tons 3 axles at 1,600 kwacha. And Class 4 above 10 tons 4 or more axles at 2,000 kwacha. All foreign trucks registered outside Malawi in a country that does not impose any inland tolls or similar charge on trucks registered in Malawi will be exempted from paying inland tolls. Pay toll for sustained road maintenance.
Welcome back. Before we proceed with the news, let's have another look at the headlines. Pope Leo XIV urges Church to welcome searchers and embrace new beginnings at Epiphany Mass. Political expert says President Mutharika's cabinet reshuffle set to inject new energy and accountability. Malawi Economic Justice Network MEGIN warns higher VAT and personal taxes will shrink consumer spending and hurt businesses. And in other news, Uganda authorities deny plans for election internet shutdown. Proceeding with the news, the Malawi Professional Boxing Control Board has advised veteran boxers to avoid competing against significantly younger opponents, warning that such match-ups can endanger their safety and damage their reputations. The board's president, Lonzo Zimba, made these remarks following heavy defeats suffered by veteran boxers Alik Gogodo and Osgood Gayuni at the Kamuzu Institute for Sports in Lilongwe recently. We have more details on this report, followed by Patrick Pupa.
Zimba was speaking after veteran boxer Osgood the Punisher Kayuni was knocked down in the second round of his bout against Bison the Fuso fighter Gwayani, while Ali Gogodo was stopped in the first round during his fight against Anthony Banda. According to Zimba, the outcomes are a clear indication that time has caught up with the veteran fighters, urging them to accept their age and compete against boxers within their category, including fellow veterans.
We should go back and do the needed, make sure that he is always fit. Sometimes career can be fake when you are trying to look like you have reached the place whereby nobody can replace you. So we are arguing our boxers wherever you are, whether you are a champion or not, that you should work hard, you should be very active, so that whenever you have been awarded any contract to fight even outside the country, you should be vibrant. We are not even impressed to see the performance of our boxers last year.
Meanwhile, 7 bouts were organized by Malawi Boxing News Promotion. Promotions Director for Malawi Boxing News Promotion, Titus Mvula, said he was satisfied with how the boxing event was conducted and advised boxers across the country to adequately prepare before stepping into the ring. For Luntha News, this is Patrick Pupa.
Now, in other news, Uganda has denied plans to shut down internet access during next week's elections, dismissing reports of a possible blackout as unfounded. Concerns were raised by the main opposition candidate Robert Kyagulanyi, widely known as Bobi Wine, who last week repeated claims that the government intended to block the internet to disrupt mobilization and the sharing of election results. The fears intensified on Friday after satellite internet provider Starlink restricted its services in Uganda following a directive from the National Communications Regulator. We have more details in this African News report read by Charity Chilanga.
Uganda goes to the polls on 15th January with President Yoweri Museveni seeking to extend his rule, now approaching 4 decades. His main challenger is Bobi Wine, a former pop star turned politician. The election follows the 2021 vote, which was marred by protest, dozens of deaths, and a 4-day nationwide internet shutdown. The Uganda Communications Commission (UCC) said there was no plan to cut internet access. Its executive director, Nyombi Tembo, told Capital FM that reports of an impending blackout were mere rumors and said the Commission's mandate was to ensure uninterrupted connectivity. Similar assurances were given by Amina Zawadi, the most senior official at the Ministry of Communications and National Guidance. She said the government had not announced or implemented any decision to shut down the internet during the election period, describing the reports as false and misleading. Zawadi also warned against the spread of false or inflammatory content online, stressing that digital platforms were subject to the law. She said the Computer Misuse Act applied fully to online activity, including the publication of false information and offensive material. She added that only the Electoral Commission was authorized to declare election results and that broadcasting unverified or premature results was illegal. Despite these assurances, Bobi Wine's National Unity Platform (NUP) says it is preparing for a possible shutdown. The party has launched an offline vote monitoring app, or BChat, which uses Bluetooth technology to share images of polling station results, forms, and voting data without internet access. In a New Year address, Bobi Wine said past elections showed the risk of an internet blackout aimed at preventing citizens from communicating, verifying results, and holding authorities to account. Political tensions remain high. Amnesty International has accused Ugandan security forces of using torture and arbitrary arrests to intimidate opposition supporters, alleging beatings and tear gas attacks against NUP backers. President Museveni first came to power in 1986 after his rebel forces captured the capital, Kampala. He has since won 6 elections, amid repeated opposition allegations of fraud and intimidation, claims the government has consistently denied.
That story also brings us to the end of what we have for you in this edition of our news bulletin. But before you go, here's a reminder of the headlines. Pope Leo XIV urges Church to welcome searches and embrace new beginnings at Epiphany Mass. Political expert says President Mutharika's cabinet reshuffle set to inject new energy and accountability. Malawi Economic Justice Network MEGIN warns higher VAT and personal taxes will shrink consumer spending and hurt businesses. And in other news, Uganda authorities deny plans for election internet shutdown. My name is Tandy Wimzumara. Thank you so much for keeping me company. And do continue following the rest of our programs right here on Luntha TV. Now, just as a reminder that you can also catch these news and many other programs on our social media pages. We are on Facebook at Luntha Television, and on YouTube we are at Luntha TV Official. Do make sure to like and follow those pages for more news and programs. From all of us here, it's thank you so much and goodbye for now.